Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We do apologize for the slight delays that we had, but literally legions of our Intel Extreme Masters minions were trying to fix things and get things going. And we actually have game number 3 that we're going to be showing you here between Serral and Neeb, because we're here at the battle station, and the battle station is going to be fully operational in a moment, because we're going to be casting things from here with Maynard, with Rotterdam. And it's going to be good. Game number 3, Serral Neeb.
Yep, I mean, it was supposed to be Serral versus Zest next up on the main stage, but obviously we kind of need Serral for Serral versus Zest to finish up Serral versus Neeb. So the score is 1-1. I did not see the previous 2 games because I was actually, believe it or not, quite intrigued by the ZVZ we had on the main stream. I mean, it was a really good series, right, between Impact and Nerd Show.
Yeah,
but I do know that the score is 1-1, and yeah, let's just go ahead and follow the action.
Game 4.
Oh.
Great start, let's go.
Maybe not.
Or maybe not.
All right.
So we'll get into that in a moment, hopefully, and it shouldn't be much of an issue, we assume. Looking at the other results that have come in so far in this group, gentlemen, I'm going to talk to you about how the group has panned out so far. Rogue defeating Zest in that 2-0 that we didn't get to see much of, but I want to get your thoughts about how that went down in terms of when it looks like Rogue defeats someone like Zest here, Maynard, with Zest being obviously a previous Intel Extreme Masters World Championship.
Yeah, it's always nice to see previous champions do a little bit better, but Rogue is Rogue. And the games they were pretty cut and dry. I mean, the weird thing was Zest was trying to do things like go for multiple Stargate openings, which are not really in the meta at the moment, but Rogue, I mean, we're in the game, and I'll just quickly finish my point. Rogue actually just beat him in every single facet of the game, unfortunately. Zest got outclassed in that ZVP.
All right, let's do it.
And when he says multiple Stargates, he means like a quick double Stargate. Because the Stargates are, of course, very much in the meta, but the double Stargate, that's not so much in the meta.
He had 3 on Blackpink.
Ooh, I saw 2 on Backwater.
Yeah, 2 on Backwater, 3 on Backpink.
Straight up 3, or did he do like 1 and then later on?
1 and then later on 2 more.
Yeah, okay.
Go.
Wanted to get some cheeky carriers out?
Yeah, he actually had a lot of Oracles out, but...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really out of the meta, Maynard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a little strange.
Anyway, game 3 is live between Neeb and Serral, and that is, of course, what we have been very patiently waiting for. James, are you going to join us as well, or is it just Maynard and me? What's happening?
TriCast?
Do you want to? I mean,
this was supposed to be desk analysis, and suddenly I'm here.
You said backstage in the ESL studios that you're the king of play-by-play.
Well, I didn't say that. It's just fact, no?
Oh.
Whoa! Well, I mean, by all means. Play-by-play this opening here by Neeb and Serral.
Play-by-play, the building
Play-by-play, the dropping of that cyber core, and also the Overlord on the way here for Serral.
Oh, okay, 1 second. Probe's going to be moving out to do a little bit of scouting. However, it has been spotted in terms of timings by these Overlords, so it's going to be obvious for Serral exactly when he needs to anticipate this probe moving across the middle of the map.
And meanwhile, why would he need to anticipate?
No. Get away. Meanwhile,
don't interrupt the play-by-play, mate. He's the king, all right?
Why would he need to anticipate the probe moving across the map, though?
He said play-by-play, not analysis.
Yeah, that's right.
But I am analyzing.
There is no room for analysis.
Oh, yes, there is. That is my job. I can analyze your play-by-play.
No, wait a minute.
That's how this works, James.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Stopped in your tracks there, Claris. Feels bad, man.
I'll just sip my drink. You keep going.
Pretty regular opening here for Neeb. Stargate opening here with the Adapt. That's pretty much what Neeb's been doing in every single one of his PvZs so far, not doing anything insane. It's not like your Classic or your SOS, who I think have a bit more, creative and weird Protoss openings against Zerg. Neeb is very much a regular, quote-unquote, Protoss.
Yeah, he has shown multiple different playstyles today, though, and that is obviously nice to see. We had some Colossus openings, we had some good old Storm Immortal openings, and he even gave us the idea he wanted to go up to carriers on one map, as he had 3 Stargates, +1 air weapons, Graviton Catapult, and a Fleet Beacon, but he never made a single carrier.
Yeah, there's too much pressure from there.
Yeah. But for the people who just joined us, this is a very important series. Obviously, Neeb is currently 1-1 in this group. So if Neeb wins this series, he will improve his record to 2-1. Serral is 2-0. If Serral improves his record to 3-0, he's pretty much guaranteed of a round of 12, unless things get very, very weird.
Yeah, exactly. So he would love to take this win. Actually, it's been impressive to see how well these two have matched up in the past 2 games. And you kind of don't really expect much different when you're looking at 2 WCS circuit champions. So it's nice. It's nice.
It's also nice for Serral that he was able to get those 2 adepts while only losing 2 drones. I think that's in general a trade that most Zerg players will be very much so okay with. If 2 adepts suicide shade into your natural, you're pretty much always going to lose 2 drones. Because you can't really pull away your drones for every single fake shade.
Yeah, and it's up to you not to lose like 6 or 8, basically.
Yeah, even 4 or 5 can already be a little bit problematic, but just losing 2 is actually pretty good for Serral.
All right, well, we got Serral sort of just on the outside here with the Lings, checking on what's happening, coming via the ground at least for Neeb on the where the adepts are coming. Where are they coming out of? And that little cute play with the Oracle, we don't see it every day, using some energy, not on drone lines, but actually just spellcaster damaging down some lava. Pretty cool.
Forces the cancellation knowing the drone would always die at that location. It's nice. It's nice. Why do I keep saying it?
You're stuck, James.
It's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice
stuff. I see Serral just basically reworking these drone rallies that he has down here to the third base. He doesn't want to lose them to the Oracles. There's a bit of an opening in his defense here against those Oracles. In true Neeb fashion, we're seeing a nice big adept attack with Oracles to support. And he actually cancelled the shade, so deciding, oh, maybe I need to pull back and have a look at this third base that I'm trying to get up.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit paranoid about a big swell of Lings being out on the map. This is something we know is actually not the case, but obviously Neeb cannot always have that information. Now somehow these Lings do show up, but Neeb is going to be fine. He's going to be forced to warp in 1 more adept. The Twilight Council is really quite late though, so I don't think that Serral has to worry too much about any sort of resonating glaze play. I think it is likely that Neeb is going to be aggressive with his adepts, but then just try to get a couple drones and make sure that he has enough at home to survive a potential Roach counter.
Oh god, nearly got that Oracle there, but it does survive there. So you feel like there's going to be resonating glaze, or no? Okay,
no,
so charge going down.
Yeah.
Just a big adept timing then.
He's just going to try to pressure, but obviously you don't want to throw away your adepts too easily, because if you do that, then there is a good chance that you die at home against the Roach Queen counter, with something we saw earlier today that happened to Neeb, I believe, against Rogue, right? On Blackpink.
Yeah, rings a bell. It sees these Roaches and these Lings here. It's a bold shade for these 2 adepts.
Gets a couple of drones. Spots all the Roaches though. Now I wonder. Earlier today we saw Neeb make a safety Void Ray when he really felt he was going to be under a lot of pressure. But perhaps he's reading this correctly. As we see on the production tab, Serral is actually still making a lot of drones behind this. So Serral is not doing what the Rogue was doing, and that is trying to all in of like 46, 47 drones and just try to win after your opponent invested in a bunch of adepts. So far this is a pretty damn even game. Neeb forced out some units, did some direct economic damage, killed a total of 7 or 8 drones or something in this game, and did a little bit of indirect damage by forcing out all these Roaches.
Yeah, it certainly did. So Roaches really don't, why that's indirect damage is the Roaches don't really have a place once the Immortals get up there. Once charge is done, they kind of don't do a whole lot for the Zerg anymore, but the Hydrals certainly do quite a bit, and they are on the way here for Serral. His Overseer comes in, sees this. The single robot at the moment for Neeb just finishes off an Immortal, gets a Warp Prism out in the nap. Oh, these Oracles once again skirting with danger. These Queens putting on a bit of damage, but they're just always alive, always skirting around, and just looking to see what's happening out of Serral's base. Like, what do I have to be ready for?
James, why are you so quiet today?
Just watching.
It's one of the Oracles does go down here against the Spore Crawler and the Queen. Storm is very fast, but what's also very fast is the Lurker then for Serral, which I do think is an excellent choice, because with Storm this fast on the way already, if he would stay on Roach Hydra, he basically has 1 attack, and if he doesn't win the game with that attack, the game would be over.
Yeah, pretty much. Lurkers give you some staying power. They're a lot better against, robotics units and that sort of thing if they're smaller in number. And if you get on top of them or flank them or surround them, then they can be taken out. It's all up to, I mean, Neeb's going to want a ton of Immortals if he knew that he was up against Lurkers. I'm not sure if he knows just yet.
I don't think he's been in that deep with his Oracles for a while. He's mostly been trying to slow down this creep, which he's been like relatively effective in, but I feel right now Serral has all the freedom that he could potentially dream of. So there's a good chance that this creep threat that right now doesn't look too out of control just yet is going to explode in the next 2 minutes. And then suddenly, especially when you go up against Lurkers, that could become a very big problem for Neeb.
Plenty of Storms here on Neeb's army. Doesn't have a whole lot of meat shield though. See that there's only a few adepts in this army with the, I mean, obviously you can make force fields, which is quite nice, but he's warping in some Zealots on the other side of the map to load into a prism and looking like he wants to go for maybe the main base here.
There are 5 Dropper Lords on the way for Serral though, Maynard, so we could potentially get a massive Roach Hydra drop, or eventually indeed Lurker drop. Sometimes they split up the Lurker drops, right, over multiple bases, can also be very effective.
Yeah, big tag there from Neeb, having a look at least a part of Serral's army. Does not know about these Dropper Lords though. And this War Prison play gets found by Serral with his Roaches. I don't think the Roaches actually win that fight, but...
The thing is, though, normally I feel whenever Zerg starts going for drop play, as a couple of these units have actually been revealed, so Serral's just kind of revealing this right now.
Yeah, I think that was deliberate.
No.
But I mean, look, if you look at the army supplies, 115 against 81 now, but most of that supply is actually still just in production for Serral. So how likely is it that he's really able to do a devastating amount of damage as he runs one of these lurkers into the Immortals when the army supplies are this close?
Well, I mean, Neeb did see this, but he's... I mean, he can react pretty quickly. Protoss have tools to be able to react very, very fast to something in the main base. But this could potentially do some damage here. Neeb's starting to walk on over.
Got a recall.
Yeah, he has to recall. So I'm saying they have the tools to be able to deal with this.
That's not a mess. What? Well, 3 Immortals, but he should probably get a couple of Zealots there to make sure he can actually deal with the Hydras as well. Does land a Storm or two, but he ends up losing an Archon, which is already not a bad trade for Serral, and Serral might actually get the Immortal too.
And a High Templar is getting quite low as here. That's a lot of gas picked off from this army of Serral. Yes, he lost a fair bit, but these are scary units that he's shaving off before he gets on out of there. And not a whole lot from Neeb's army shoots up, so these Overlords is kind of just floating around, and Neeb's just following them, going, I'll get you next time.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is whenever you're chasing Overlords around like this is that there is a chance that Serral is being active with lurkers somewhere on the map, and if those lurkers can siege up in a very dangerous position, that's where things get very dicey no matter how many you
Oh wow. Serral's going to keep the drop train coming here. Express no stops. One more time into the main base. Just a couple Overlords this time. This Hydra still not dealt with, getting a couple probes before it goes down. And recall has been used, so Neeb needs to now take the ground path here to deal with it. Oops, High Templar taking some damage from those lurker spines.
Serral's so good, sending one Roach forward to make sure that he doesn't lose too many units to that stasis trap. Look at it, is it
Wait,
one
11?
Hydra?
Did 11 probes just die to that one Hydralist? Surely not. That's a big depower here on the wall. A bunch of units of Serral going for an attack into the natural. Neeb's over here at the 4th base. Ugh.
Neeb seems to be scrambling a little bit. These Hydras in the natural are doing a lot of damage. The gateways are unpowered. The lurkers are still here as well. Neeb cannot go too far forward.
Oh no! These High Templar going down to the lurkers. That's devastatingly bad for Neeb. He gets a tag on the lurkers, but what does he have to finish them off?
I mean, he still has these Immortals, he still has these Storms, but they are quite far out of position. Curious to see if Serral wants to move further forward or not, but he did quite a bit of economic damage. But I must say I'm surprised that Neeb still has 73 workers after he just lost 20.
That is pretty insane. I didn't see a run by on the other side of the map here from Neeb or anything like that, so it's just kind of must have had that many probes at that point, but we do see a lot more army here for Serral, and it's quite scary. When Hive comes up, he can start to get adaptive talents for those lurkers to make them even more effective, or he can just switch into a new tier 3 tech, all of which Neeb doesn't seem really ready for because he's making another robotics facility, which is good against lurkers, you know. But if Serral's got his mind on something that flies, well, then we're in a different spot here. Big attack here from Serral. There's Storms at the front. A couple of squishy units do get stormed. They get taken down. The Immortals are doing a right job. In fact, he's catching some of the lurkers here on the other part of the map, but still has to take this attack from Serral very seriously. He's doing a lot of damage here.
Well, it really felt that Neeb left enough units behind to deal with this part of the army of Serral, but apparently that was not the case at all, as he lost a lot of very expensive units. He's on 81 probes though, and he's still building probes, so he's going to earn plenty of money, even adding the mothership now as well.
Mama's coming. She's going to help out a bit by offering a
cloak.
Cloaking, and also, I guess, if you really, really wanted it, the ability, a second recall kind of as well. But mainly cloaking. Pretty effective. I like seeing Protosses go for the mothership before dropping the Stargates. It's still pretty effective in these fights for a little while.
Couple Zealots and Archons getting a little too far away from the rest of the party. Neeb doing a good job in still tagging units on the right side of the map. Obviously, it is important that he knows that Serral is still being very mobile. I do feel that Serral is getting excellent traits though, whenever they have these split-up fights. He's able to pick up these Archons one by one over and over again.
Wow, the resources lost are actually extremely close here between the two players. And it just starts to spiral out of control a little bit for Neeb as he takes a pretty good fight. Just as you mentioned, Serral winning engagements, Neeb takes a pretty good one there at that 4th Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, the flank on the Lurkers was pretty sweet. Hard to deny that one. Didn't expect Neeb to have so many units coming in from the left side. Now Serral is remaxing actually on 22 Roaches, and you gotta ask yourself, how effective are these Roaches and potential Ravagers really going to be against this never-ending climbing count of Immortals and Archons?
Well, I feel like they're good against Storm, and that's about it, right? Like, they have plus to attack, and they are, you know, doing damage. But Archons and Immortals, really, they want to see a Roach army. They'll just tear it to pieces.
I mean, they're good against Storm if the rest of the Protoss army isn't really packing one hell of a punch and is a little bit flimsy. But if you have Storm on top of Roaches and you've got Archons and Immortals, even Storm is actually really sweet, because that's basically going to allow all these Immortals to just one-shot these Roaches. And even though Serral has been applying a lot of pressure on Neeb, I feel like after that last fight, suddenly things are starting to look really sweet for Neeb here in game number 3.
Yeah, he's starting to look cleaner and cleaner in these holds. We keep seeing, it feels like deja vu, the same day lived over and over again with an attack on the 4th base while there's an attack on the natural. And Serral won engagements a couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. Now Neeb's starting to win all the fights here.
Rather decisively as well. He's even getting +3 attack. You can see that Serral, who lost first a little bit less resources, now lost 4,000 more. These last 2 fights were just not going his way. And he does have Hive and he does have the upgrade for the Lurkers, but we don't really see too many Lurkers out on the map. Serral is desperate to do some economic damage or just to pick off units one by one. He does get a couple of Archons here.
Oh, this isn't going too bad for Serral just yet. Here come the Storms, they're coming a little bit. There's not too much on the right, and honestly, not a whole lot on the left either. Serral could close this flank, though, with the Roaches and the Hydras, and perhaps pick off the Mothership and get rid of these Archons and Immortals as well. A charge lot warp in from the natural for Neeb, though. Does push back the left side of the flank from Serral, and even the right side gets bullied back. Too much on the floor here for Neeb.
And those Zealots really helping out a lot, right? The Zealots he just warped into reinforce just makes these Immortals so much harder to focus. Hydras cannot ignore Zealots that are standing on top of them, and then of course if the Immortals are standing healthy below a Mothership, you're just never gonna get close to them.
Well, Neeb has 12 Immortals now, Roddy, and that's pretty good against this low count of Roaches and Hydras. If they all ball up together, I feel like pretty soon Neeb can actually start to feel his presence across the map and start really putting the pressure on a Serral for a change, instead of just continually taking wave and wave of Zerg aggression.
5 Lurkers are morphing at this point, but those are the only Lurkers that are out on the map. I mean, Neeb's army is just way more powerful. He's getting 2 more Immortals. He's going to be at 14 Immortals, Archons, and Storm. I think Serral's best choice is indeed to once again try to go for some drops, maybe drop some Lurkers behind mineral lines, just be annoying somewhere. But it's going to be hard. Neeb's Immortal count is so high that he can casually leave an Immortal or 2 behind, you know, everywhere, just to defend against these kind of drops as well.
Well, Serral is Lurker pushing this 5th base at the front here for Neeb on the low ground. Meanwhile, he's dropping the main base. And we'll see how much damage he can get done. Neeb actually flanking this position of Serral here, and he looks like he has more than enough to be able to deal with it quite handily. In fact, Nexus is still alive. Serral attacking the 4th as well, and still the main looks like it's been dealt with. Didn't take too much damage. I think he lost a pylon there, and that's about it.
I mean, Serral's gonna get a Nexus here, which is nice. That's finally some real economic damage, but what is the answer against the 15 Immortals and 6 Archons that Neeb has that are currently marching across the map? And I honestly don't know if Serral has one.
I don't think so. It's starting to slip through his fingers here as Neeb held on and managed to find an advantage, started to take efficient trades, and then use that advantage of army and also technology and upgrades to just keep putting the hurt on. These 3 Immortals are left to die. That's pretty rude, Neeb.
That was perhaps not the best way to split up the army there, leaving just 3 Immortals, sending those to the right bottom side. Mothership takes a lot of damage. What's the HP on it? Okay,
it's going to go down. That's a big pick off there. Also, that Nexus died as well, so there's 2 Nexus have been picked up from Serral in the last 20 seconds or so.
A couple of High Templars taking a little bit of damage against this drop. Now Neeb is losing some patience.
There's a Storm.
As long as he storms, he's going to be fine, but where are the Storms?
Now, Storm's not amazing here from Neeb. He has 1 more there on the left. Does hurt the Hydras quite a bit. The Immortals helping out a ton as well. Man, this is starting to get a little bit dirty, Rotterdam. There's lots of damage all over from both players.
Still 10 Immortals, though, and still 4 High Templars on the map as well. The only way that Serral can ever win is if he just baits Neeb into using all these Storms that are not very effective. That is Serral's one way to victory.
Also, if Neeb makes a massive mistake, like walks through a bunch of Lurkers or something, but we're seeing that there's not even any Lurkers out now for Serral. They've all been taken down. He's just on Roach Hydra again. And, I mean, Roach Hydra is nice, but it's not super amazing in the later stages of the game, especially when the Protoss has just that tier 3 and also a huge amount of Immortals, which he hasn't really, like, yeah, he got those 3 Immortals there that Neeb gave him, you know, maybe it's his birthday, I'm not too sure. But, I mean, how do you, there's still so many Immortals left over, how does he deal with them? What is his answer?
What do you think, James?
Not sure.
Start the game over again, maybe?
Yeah,
we're just not as cool as Todd and Artosis, huh?
Well, I'm saving it. I'm saving it.
You're saving it for later?
Eventually, everybody will be really tired, and that's when I come in.
Okay.
That's when you look good by comparison. That's like standing next to an ugly person. When you're like an average-looking person, you look better by comparison.
That's right.
I feel it. All right.
Yep.
That's why you always stand next to me on pictures, Maynard.
No, mate.
No.
No, mate. That's why you stand next to me.
Not true at all. You're always like, hey, Roddy, come over here, buddy.
Don't make me blush, Rotterdam. I'm trying to cast Starcraft.
Alrighty, well, Neeb is still looking alright because his army is just massive, but the longer this goes on, I mean, Serral did save a few more workers than Neeb did during that hectic base raid that we had. And once again, if you guys just joined us, this is not a regular cast. These are not guys that are on the main stage. We're just doing this because we need Serral to be on the main stage as soon as this series ends. So we are just standing here on the analysis desk.
Yeah, the rounds are sort of happening one at a time. So when a round finishes, everyone's played each other. Then we have to wait for everyone to be ready, obviously, because without Serral, we can't have a rematch going at once. Serral's actually going to be again on the main stream, I believe.
The Lurk account looks a little more healthy than it did earlier.
Is lovely.
14 is pretty good, but then again, 12 Immortals, 3 Archons. It really comes down to the engagement of the Immortals, right? If they all come from one side, I actually believe the Lurkers can win that. But if Neeb spreads them out a little bit, I mean...
Well, the Immortals aren't all together either. There's a bunch of them are still at home for Neeb by the looks of it. Oh man, the Immortals are coming in on the Lurker line. They're getting a few of them, quite a few of them.
What are the Lurkers on the north side doing?
They were taking a break, I guess. Oh man, they just evaporate to these +3 Immortals, but the Immortals get pushed back by the Roaches.
If the other Immortals were fighting in that previous fight as well, I actually don't think that he would have lost all those Lurkers to begin with, as it seems like we are having an issue.
Taiwan Ops.
Neeb is getting ready to warp in more units.
Well, our lag is out. There's the obligatory accidentally made you Swarm Host.
Oh no, this is so bad.
Oh wow,
oh my
big
God.
blunder from Neeb here. Oh, these Immortals are so important. He has to recall them, but he's going to lose a couple, or even maybe 3 before they go. Oh jeez, that sucks so bad for Neeb. His army supply is still not too bad, but what really matters is the Immortal count.
And now he can't recall this army, though.
Oh no, he had to recall these Immortals, and these are all stuck here. Serral's going to go for a big flank. He knows this as well. The Lurker's going to catch his retreat. Oh, Rotterdam, the humanity. All the Lurker spines are starting to hit these Archons and the Immortals and the High Templar. They're all out here in Zerg territory. There is charge-ons from the north somehow.
Wow.
Oh, where did these guys come from? In they go.
But can he go up this ramp, though, against the other Lurkers?
It's tough. It's going to be close.
Actually, it seems like Neeb somehow has enough. All the storms doing just devastating amounts of damage. I don't even know where his reinforcements were coming from. Now Serral's gonna have to kite on creep, only having 30 army supply left. At the same time, Neeb doesn't have too much staying power in this army either.
Protoss gets deflected. Both players kind of very beaten, bloodied, and bruised here. Not a whole lot left for each player.
Where's Pig? If this game is not a bloodbath, I don't know what is.
This is what's worse than a bloodbath? I don't know, like a blood pool? Like
I don't know.
This
That's why we need
completely
Pig.
Savage. I know, yeah, he has to come up with these terminologies. I'm too weak of an Australian commentator. But I mean, Serral does have a pretty healthy drone count, and Neeb's been stuck on these 3 Nexar for a while. Trying to take that 4th has been a bit of a struggle for him, because Serral keeps doing damage like this, sending in the Roaches, taking out more and more probes.
71 workers have gone down in this game. Quite a lot, especially because there wasn't a single moment where like 50 workers died, you know. It was always 6, 7 workers, one time 20 workers. Other than that, just non-stop tiny bits of harass of Serral. And throughout this game, this has led up to 71 worker kills. This obviously means that Neeb's very healthy worker count he had once upon a time is now only at 38. And every second that goes by, especially with Serral mining from this base on the left side, is kind of a good second for Serral. The only downside for Serral is that he lost all of his lurkers. So now he's back to Roach Hydra again.
There's a very naked Nexus on the high ground as well, which Serral, I think, just found that Overlord. So this is very tough for Neeb to reinforce. Not even any pylons there. His army is in position, luckily. But if it's here, then it's the 4th is left a little bit open.
How would you feel about a couple of Vipers? I know he's super low on gas, but theoretically, I mean, against feedback, it's always quite scary, but if he's able to abduct an Immortal every now and then, that would feel like it's quite sweet.
Even Blinding Cloud to force them to move back while you do a lot of damage to them can work out as well. But anyway, hold that thought. We do have a couple of Mortals being taken out by these Hydras, but a recall from Neeb. Serral has to get out of there.
I just felt like he's calling in additional Protoss forces. That could have been a warp in, Maynard. It's just like 9 Zealots that suddenly show up. There's a lot of Zerglings in the mix, as the Archon count is actually quite low. I kind of like this surprise move, but the 17 Zealots will, of course, complicate things a little bit. I do like the Zerglings to harass as well.
Yeah, this is very nice. Economy is the name of the game here. So Serral tries to hold on to his lead in the economy. See, he's got a nice mineral bank, and he's trying to do something with it, and Lynx could be the right answer. Does he have Adrenal, though?
No, not yet.
Yeah. A little bit tough. I mean, you can see that Serral's gas bank is quite dismal. His gas income, not too good either.
I do like the Lynx.
Yeah, this is quite
frustrating for Neeb. And Neeb also doesn't have too many static defenses. There are no cannons here, no shield batteries.
So smart.
Doesn't have a Dark Shrine. These Lynx are just running circles around Neeb. If he would have Adrenal, he would have been able to kill that Nexus. That's how fast Lynx can take out a Nexus.
Yeah, Adrenal's pretty insane. Neeb somehow is managing to be all over the place to be able to deflect all these Lynx. He's only lost 5 probes, but still, you know, the Lings are still alive, and they're being very, very annoying.
Serral's buying very valuable time for himself, though. I feel like he really needed to buy some time, because you looked at his army and it looked very simple, very plain. Roach Hydra, in a straight-up fight, it really wouldn't have much of a shot. But these Lings are buying a lot of time for him that could potentially give him some extra gas income again, or at least make his army count grow. He still has more workers than Neeb, so normally you'd say every time that a little bit of time passes, Serral's army will grow a little bit faster than Neeb's army would.
Yeah, I can see that he has the army supply advantage, but a lot of it is in Roaches, which, as we mentioned, kind of don't trade very well against this army of Neeb. He's coming around the outside here, multitasking across the map to see that Serral and Neeb are fighting in the natural and here at the fourth base. Now, this looks like a good army for Serral.
Yep, but
a lot of hiders on the back.
A lot of units coming in from the south side, though, so Serral has to be very, very careful, because if Neeb fights with his entire army, then obviously that army's not big enough. Damn, the multitasking from Serral is outrageous at this point. He's just running circles around Neeb, really using the mobility of the Zerg army. Still has to be careful. Neeb's army is stronger in the straight-up fight, but Serral's doing a really good job in avoiding the straight-up fight.
Except for this one, he's going to take a lot of damage there to that army. I feel like Neeb's multitasking as well, going to give credit where credit is due. He's doing a pretty fantastic job defending in both locations while Serral's attacking in both locations. This High Templar is going to go down. A lot of Immortals here are going to win this fight. But down in the south, 3 more Immortals are going to go down, as long as those Archons as well. The Queen City coming up the line and helping out.
There's so much energy in all those Queens as well, Maynard. That makes it a very awkward fight for the Immortals. Now, Neeb pretty much only has Immortals left. He has 8 Immortals, 7 Zealots. I like these Zerglings by Serral. I think they're very smart. Now, of course, Neeb is very smart as well, so he starts adding a couple of Archons again. This accidental cast is turning into a ridiculous game, Maynard.
Doesn't this always happen, though? Like, when we go to the desk for a desk cast, like, that's when Dark Solar happened as well, like...
58k resources lost for Serral, 51,000 for Neeb.
206 Roaches died in this game.
How many Storms are available, though? Oh, he only has a single High Templar. I don't like it.
Don't like it at all.
Serral's multitasking is insane. Obviously, Neeb's ability to somehow keep up with it as well. A lesser man would have fell apart a long time ago. The pace of this game is pretty sick.
It's all over the place. I don't envy the observers trying to keep up with all the action here. This is a big ball of Zerg stuff here, and if the Queens can get a creep highway close enough and they can have transfusions, so there could be one big, huge final battle here with the transfusions from Serral. Obviously, you can see that the end is nigh here for both players. Both of them don't really have a bank to work with. A bunch of the Immortals are out of position as well if this fight does happen in the middle of the map.
That is so risky, and it seems like Serral has sort of caught up on it. I guess he saw it with his Overlord there, and in the end, he's not going to get the surround just yet. Neeb's army is once again a little bit split up, as Serral is once again being annoying with tiny Zergling run-bys somewhere on the top side of the map, but there was a shield battery there. Serral has somehow, during all of this, managed to max out. Neeb is hovering around 150 supply, but Neeb still has a lot of Immortals, and he's got Storm. Like, on paper, Neeb's army is still stronger, I think.
These 3 High Templar don't have Storm just yet, but not far off. Obviously, they'll have one when the fight happens. Charge Lot run-by here is not effective. Serral manages to deal with it very, very easily. Referee's had enough. It's a little bit too intense, probably a heart rate issue.
The Queens can be super useful. I would love to see a couple Lurkers again, but I guess Serral has been so low on resources that it's hard for him to squeeze them out. Now, of course, Lurkers against Immortals are not always the greatest unit, but...
It's so funny.
I think in these big fights, they can definitely have some use.
Drops a cannon to get rid of that Overlord so he can try and take a Nexus there. It keeps Poop and Creep on his spot there. Oh, man. There's the armies there in the top left, guys. Neeb, well, that's a lot of Hydras, actually. I don't think Neeb wants to take this fight without the rest of his army, and a lot of it's on the left-hand side. Needs Storms here, and he needs them to land well. As the Storms from Neeb could potentially feed back the Queens as well. Force Field's going down to help out. Oh.
Doing a really good job in making sure he didn't get surrounded by the Zerglings. That's obviously what Serral wants. Serral is winning the fight on the right side of the map though. Gets a couple of Immortals again. He's going to force out the recall, gets a few more Zealots. I honestly feel we're watching a co-op match. It really feels like there are two people controlling both of these guys' armies.
Yeah, they're multitasking that well. Serral's taking a huge supply advantage though. Yeah, Archon mode, there we go.
Archon mode, it's been a while, Maynard.
I think Serral's taking a huge army supply advantage here, and I think that the final fight is really not that far away at all, even though Serral, you know, he's got 1,000 minerals almost and almost 500 gas, but he is starting to, I just feel like he's in advantage right now. It's going to be tough for Neeb to take a beautiful fight at the moment, especially like the creep spread is going closer and closer, like a hand choking his neck right now. The creep is getting so close to Neeb.
Yeah, I love the fact that Serral is just not giving Neeb the fight that he truly wants. All that Neeb wants is just to fight with like 7 or 8 High Templars, have always Storms available. He's kind of tricking Serral into taking that fight now though, but Serral will back off immediately. Off creep into a choke point. No matter how big Serral's army is, that's always going to be very tough against Immortals and Storm.
Serral's, I mean, the base count is so low here and the map is so split that Serral's taking a base directly under the main of Neeb here, which is, amazingly enough, never been taken by Neeb. Serral's not let him have it. Serral looking for an attack here on this base. A lot of Neeb's army on the left again. Neeb is split in 2 places at once. Serral split in 2 places at once.
I feel like Neeb has been mining so much less than Serral over the last 10 minutes. Can we take a look at that income graphic real quick? Yeah, there was one split tiny moment 5 minutes ago. Other than that, Neeb is doing a really good job in just not falling apart. He's losing a couple of Immortals here and there. I think I've really seen a game where this many Immortals died. Serral's gonna go for it.
Those storms are amazing! So many of the Hydras die there to the storms. Will Neeb be able to win off the back of this though? All those Immortals coming in from the back. God, those storms were good.
Serral was so patient for so long. He eventually got tricked into taking that fight. And suddenly the supplies are a little bit closer, especially the army supply. I mean, obviously Serral still has 22 more workers. Neeb's Immortal count still 15. But on creep though, without Storm, this can still go Serral's way, absolutely.
And he's got, I think, 2 Storms and 2 High Templar in that ball, but obviously there are a lot of Hydras here for Serral. And some of them are breaking off to the left here. He's going to probably kill this Nexus as the one of the hatcheries die here for Serral. The Nexus goes down. Can't recall to that one anyway. So, oh man, all these drones just on Exodus, trying to find somewhere to go, but Neeb is wanting this fight.
Good job by Serral though, being able to save a couple of those drones. Those were very important, because now he can just transfer them towards the left top side of the map, or perhaps to one of the extractors that he didn't take, or just retake the base almost immediately. Serral's going to try to kite a couple of these Zealots on creep. That's obviously possible. Immortals are not the fastest unit in the game.
No, but they pack a hell of a punch. And they're on the edge of the creep here. There's that one swarm host in the army.
Neeb with only 29 probes though. It's so tough. This must be so frustrating for Neeb. He's like, come on, just fight. Fight me. But Serral is just not giving Neeb the fight he wants. This is actually amazing execution of Roach Hydra for 31 minutes, Maynard.
Yeah.
Of course, we had a couple lurkers, but...
I mean, there is still technically some tier 3 in here. We had adaptive talons, obviously it's +3 attack for both players, but it is tier 2 based armies, single swarm host, which I'm pretty sure was an accident by Serral. Just going to send off some of these locusts into the middle line, and Neeb's like, oh, come on, mate.
Double shield battery is going to keep the probe safe for now, but it's still kind of frustrating. Serral is maxed out. The High Templar count is only 3. Serral once again splitting off a lot of his Hydras. Neeb is finally harassing a tiny bit again as well, as he forced another cancel on that base in the right bottom side.
Well, Serral's gone up into the natural again, this time just with a ball of Hydras. Obviously with no storms, it's a little bit tough to deal with. You can get a charge lot warp in, but the Hydras have tons of damage output. They're +3 attack.
A couple of Zealots going to get picked off, which is actually quite nice. Neeb doesn't have the income anymore to just replace units, so even just getting a few Zealots is a really big deal. Another Immortal is being produced. Neeb currently has 17 Immortals, Maynard.
Yeah,
one more is on the way. And you know, 32 Immortals have gone down in this game already. Isn't that ridiculous?
Insane numbers of these scary units here for Neeb and also for Serral.
28 Archons, 202 Zealots.
101 probes died in this game. It's a new Disney movie, 101 probes. we have this Hydra attack on the right. Recall off cooldown. Neeb can bring the units in to fight this. He killed the hatchery at the top under his main as well.
Yep, exactly. I mean, so he actually shot down the majority of the income of Serral for this point. I guess Serral still has a couple of patches over here on the left side and maybe center bottom. Nope, that's completely mined out. So that's actually the only base that is currently mining. Neeb getting 2 hatcheries there. It's a pretty big deal, Maynard.
Yeah, Serral was also supply blocked for a little bit there. You can see, I think he was trying to make some more queens, perhaps.
There's still a lot of money to potentially be mined on the right top side of Katowice. That is the one base that Serral sniped quite early. Even this base is starting to run quite low.
Yeah, there's 4 patches remaining.
Yeah.
I mean, the gas still matters as well in this game, of course. Both players very low in income. Every single bit of income matters. One Swarm has killed 9 probes.
I think if Neeb just gets a few more High Templars with a few more storms. Now the Lurkers are on their production tab again for Serral. Seems like he's going to try the Lurker switches one more time. That hatch got sniped again by these Immortals.
Yeah, these mortals make hatches disappear. It's their magic trick. Very good versus
big
structures.
clash, I believe, in the middle of the map. Couple of queens getting caught off guard.
Yeah, and the important storms. How many of those are available here for Neeb? He has, looks like 4 almost full energy High Templar here. So a good number of storms per High Templar.
Yeah, that's 2 each. That's 8 storms. 8 storms is definitely enough to take care of 45 Hydras, that's for sure. This one Swarmos. It's actually still doing some work.
Kill the Zealot, and then the Lurker's going to kill a probe. My god. Oh my god, come on now.
What if the accidental Swarmos wins the base trade?
Well, he's already killed 12 probes. Look at Neeb would actually have a similar economy to Serral if it wasn't for the Swarmos. So that's so funny. Anyway, the main story here is, of course, the army of both players and these Lurkers from Serral being back on the field again. Obviously, Immortals are fantastic against Lurkers, but Lurkers have that ambush potential and splash damage output.
All the queens is still very useful as well. You could potentially run the Lurkers. A couple of queens do get caught here once again. No, they're off creep. They're so slow.
Yeah, a couple of them getting fed back as well. Lurkers from the right-hand side. Oh no, Serral trying to close the gap here. Oh, the High Templar got taken out. Some juicy storms going down. There's so much for the Zerg. Oh, it looks like it's finally happened. Reinforcement of Immortals, a big fight. Somehow, Neeb staying alive for now, but he is almost half the army supply.
This is Serral's moment, though. Not a single High Templar was on the map. These are the first 2 High Templars that Neeb walked in. That army had all of the High Templars. If Serral would know this, he could literally run into the army of Neeb right now and win the game with his Lurkers and Hydras. But the longer he waits, the more storms he's going to have to go up against again.
I even feel like he could eat a couple storms and still win this engagement. He's got so much Zerg units here.
Still 37 Hydras. He's still got 6 queens, so there's still a little bit of transfuse left. And the majority of the Lurkers survived as well. But Serral's playing it safe, and you can't really blame him for such a ridiculous game. 36 minutes already on Catalyst as he's mining again from the left top side. I mean, I guess you could say that the clock is on Neeb, right? Like, Serral's income is way better, so maybe Serral doesn't have to take that fight off creep.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Obviously, it makes the game stretch out a little bit longer, but it means that he has a much bigger chance than winning the game than diving on, a dozen Immortals and potentially a couple Storms as well.
Love the way that Serral played this for the last 10-15 minutes. The way he's been running around, the way he's not been tricked into taking one of those fights where Zerg players normally lose everything and not kill anything. The super high Immortal count for Neeb, but Neeb just never getting the fight that he truly wishes for. And it seems like Serral is setting up another one of those surrounds, Maynard.
Yeah, it looks like just part of Neeb's army here coming down. Neeb's on the high ground waiting for these Lurkers to try and catch him. Does he have enough Immortals and enough units to be able to crack this, though? Still has the Observer, so he still has the detection. The Lurkers are actually starting to disappear, but so many Hydralisks left over from Serral, it may not even matter.
Yeah, not many storms left at all. I think we're looking at the final moments of a sick game.
GG. What a CVP from Serral. And of course, Neeb as well, showing his caliber in the game. My god.
That was ridiculous. I just saw a sick little move there as well, where he had that base down at the bottom right. He hid all his Hydras that back, so he knew he wouldn't be able to take the army. And then once the base had gone and the army had moved back, he could move them back to join the rest of his army. Because he knew they were going to die to that section. That was really good.
That was almost 25 minutes of non-stop armies running around, trying to flank each other, trying to catch each other out of position. Absolutely ridiculous game between Neeb and Serral. Damn.
Man, that's Starcraft, dude. That's why I love it so much. There's just no game looks the same as the other. So what does that mean in the group here at the moment? Serral top of the group. There you go.
Yes.
So Serral very much poised to lead the group. I mean, I'm not surprised at all in the slightest. A lot of people that follow the game won't be either. It just speaks to the caliber of this WCS champion.
And the crazy thing is that his next match is going to actually be against Zest, which this time last year, he was in Group C in a 6-man round robin, and he beat Zest there as well, in the same group, same situation.
And he's much better now than he was last year, I can guarantee you.
Yeah. Serral could just sweep this group.
You know what's also crazy about this group? that 4 players are 1 and 2 right now.
Oh,
Neeb
no.
is 1 and 2, Zest is 1 and 2, Impact is 1 and 2, and Nurture is 1 and 2. So I don't think anything is decided just yet, James.
No, not at all. Not at all. We could be in for some tiebreakers later down the line as well. As you can see, the results up on the screen. Serral's actually 3-0, as we've just figured out, so that's good.
That's all right. The update will come.
It'll come along eventually. Awesome stuff. So other than that, we've had a few other games that have been not actually starting because we've been waiting for this one to go on. And our next round of matches will be Rogue versus Nurture, Impact versus Neeb, and that Serral versus Zest game.
I'm feeling some tiebreakers.
Yeah. And I think the Serral Zest game will be on the mainstream, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
cool.
That is correct. I haven't been told whether or not we are going to go to a break, but I'm pretty sure we probably can, considering the craziness of that 40-minute long game.
I think that if Serral says that he's going to need a couple minutes right now, I think everybody in the world will understand.
Yeah,
like,
even though
I don't think we can just drag him from his one PC setup. It's like, go to the main stage.
It's been a long day, but got to give him a rest, guys. Come on.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to go to that short break. When we're back, more Intel Extreme Masters.